Here's how your week works. Monday or Tuesday, something clicks. Maybe you watch a video like this one. Maybe you just wake up angry at yourself. And for a few hours, sometimes a full day, you're on. You clean the apartment. You open the project you've been avoiding. You eat something that isn't garbage. You feel sharp, clear. You think, this is me now. This is the version that sticks. Wednesday night, the spark is already dimming. Not gone, dimming. You're tired in a way that doesn't match what you actually did. The motivation that felt so real 48 hours ago now feels like something you borrowed and have to return. So you reach for something easy. You know what it is. I don't need to name it. Your stomach just tightened because you already know. Maybe it's the tab you open when no one's watching. Maybe it's the 3-hour scroll that starts as just 5 minutes. Maybe it's the thing you swore on everything you'd stop doing last Sunday. Thursday morning, your alarm goes off and your body feels like wet concrete. You lie there, eyes open, already disgusted. Not because anything dramatic happened, but because you can feel the gap between who you were on Monday and who you are right now lying in this bed with the phone still warm on the nightstand. That gap has a weight to it. A specific heaviness behind your sternum that you've never described to anyone, because how do you even explain it? By Friday, you've either restarted the whole cycle with another burst of "this time for real," or you've quietly surrendered to the weekend. Sunday night, ceiling, silence. That voice. Why can't I just stop? I'm describing your week because I've lived it. And that cycle, spark, slip, shame, repeat, isn't what you think it is. It's not a discipline problem. It's not a moral failure. It's a neurological feedback loop with 3 moving parts, and here's the part that changed everything for me. A specific way to break it that has nothing to do with willpower, religion, or hating yourself harder. But you can't break what you can't see. So let's see it. 3 gears. The dopamine debt that makes productive action feel physically painful, the shame spiral that fuels the next relapse, and the 60-second override that intercepts the compulsion the moment it shows up. No fluff. A protocol. If you're watching this, you already know the cycle. You've just never had anyone explain why it happens without making you feel like garbage. That changes in the next 15 minutes. You've probably explained this pattern to yourself 100 ways. I'm lazy. I have no discipline. Something's wrong with me. And every one of those explanations does the same thing. It makes you the broken part. Which means the solution is always try harder. And how many times has that worked? The reason try harder keeps failing isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're treating a chemistry problem with a mindset fix. That's like putting a motivational poster on a car with no engine. Here's what's actually happening. And I need you to forget everything you think you know about dopamine for the next 2 minutes. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's the thumbnail version. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. Your brain releases it when it predicts a reward is coming. Not when you get it. That's why opening the app feels more exciting than anything you actually find inside it. The anticipation of the binge is more intense than the binge itself. Now here's the part that wrecks you. After the reward is consumed, after the tab closes, dopamine doesn't return to normal. It drops below your baseline. Dr. Anna Lemke at Stanford spent years studying this and wrote Dopamine Nation about it. The brain operates on a balance. Every spike of easy pleasure creates an equal dip into discomfort. The higher the spike, the deeper the hole. So that morning after feeling, the wet concrete, the fog, the heaviness, that's not just guilt. That's your dopamine system sitting in a deficit, chemically below the line. And from below that line, everything that requires effort, opening the laptop, getting to the gym, starting the conversation you've been avoiding, feels disproportionately hard. Not because it is hard, Because your brain has no fuel left to make it feel worth doing. You're not lazy on those mornings. You're neurochemically bankrupt. And what does a bankrupt brain do? It looks for the fastest deposit available, which is the exact same cheap pleasure that emptied the account. Scroll, watch, consume. Quick spike, deeper crash, repeat. Each cycle pushes the baseline lower. Each recovery takes longer. That's the engine. Not weakness, not sin, not a character flaw. A feedback loop running on chemistry that nobody sat you down and taught you to manage. Okay, so that's the engine. 2 gears. Pleasure spike drops you into deficit. Deficit drives you back to the spike. But there's a third gear that most people completely miss, and it's the one that makes this loop almost impossible to escape. It's not dopamine. It's worse. It's shame. Think of it like your phone at 3% battery. Every app crashes. The screen lags. Everything takes forever to load. You don't ask, why won't this app work? You know the operating system is running on fumes. That's your brain at dopamine deficit. Your focus isn't broken. Your willpower isn't missing. There's just nothing left to power them. And Lemke's clinical work shows that after heavy, repeated dopamine binges, the brain can take 2 to 4 weeks of reduced stimulation just to crawl back to a healthy baseline. For people running this cycle daily for months, longer. Every night you spend in the loop pushes the recovery window further out. So here's the first piece of the protocol. And I need you to hear what this isn't before I tell you what it is. This isn't be more disciplined. This isn't willpower. This is environmental design. You're not making yourself stronger. You're making the bad option harder to reach. The nightstand rule. Your phone does not enter your bedroom after 10 p.m., period. Buy a $5 alarm clock from the dollar store tomorrow. This isn't a suggestion. This single change removes the number one trigger for the number one moment of vulnerability. Lying in bed, alone in the dark, with a portal to everything your brain is begging for sitting 6 inches from your face. Remove the portal. The craving loses its delivery system. The first hour shield. Your first 60 minutes after waking are stimulation-free. No phone, no social media, no news. Your brain's dopamine is at its lowest in the morning. Circadian biology. Flooding it with easy stimulation, the second you open your eyes sets the deficit for the entire day. Let the first hour be boring. Your brain will hate it for about a week. Then it starts recovering. The boring buffer. Between any productive session and any free time, insert 10 minutes of nothing. Sit. Walk without earbuds. Stare out the window. This breaks the association your brain built between effort is over and time to binge. That transition moment, closing the laptop and reaching for the phone, is where most relapses live. The buffer retrains it. This isn't punishment. You wouldn't run on a broken ankle and call yourself weak for limping. Your dopamine system is depleted. Treat it like the injury it is. Rest, protection, patience, not guilt. But here's the thing. I've watched people set up every barrier, understand every piece of the science, and still fall back into the loop within a week. Because the chemistry is only half the story. There's a force that overrides the barriers, ignores the logic, and drags you back in even when you know better. And it's not craving. It's something you'd never suspect. Let's talk about the part you don't tell anyone. The moment after. Not the act, the aftermath. You close the tab, you put the phone face down, and for about 3 seconds, there's nothing. Just silence. Then it hits. That wave. The voice that says, you did it again. The instant replay of every promise you broke to yourself this month. Your chest gets tight. Your jaw clenches. You feel small in a way that has nothing to do with your physical size. It's like something inside you shrinks. And you swear, again, that this was the last time. I know that moment. I've been in that exact spot. Lying in bed at 2 a.m., phone still warm in my hand, running the math on how many times I'd broken the same promise to myself. 47? 60? At some point you stop counting because the number itself becomes another weapon your brain uses against you. That math, that running tally of failure, is what keeps the loop fed. I had to learn to stop counting before anything else could change. And here's what nobody in the self-improvement space will say out loud. That shame you feel after? It's not helping you. It's not your conscience keeping you honest. It's the third gear in the loop. And it's the one that makes the whole machine nearly impossible to stop. The sequence. You indulge. Dopamine crashes. Shame floods in. That hot, suffocating feeling behind your ribs. And shame is one of the most emotionally painful things a human brain can produce. Not guilty. Guilty says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. And what does a brain in pain do? It reaches for the fastest available relief, which is the exact same behavior that caused the shame. You're not relapsing because you lack willpower. You're relapsing because shame hurts, and your brain has exactly one trained escape route from that specific kind of pain. Dr. Brené Brown spent over a decade studying this. Her data shows the same thing. Shame doesn't produce behavior change. It produces concealment and repetition of the shamed behavior. Separately, Dr. Judson Brewer's work at Brown University found that self-compassion, not self-indulgence, there's a difference, disrupts the habit loop more effectively than self-criticism, because it drains the emotional charge powering the craving. So here's the second piece of the protocol. The shame intercept. The moment after a slip, your brain is going to generate a story. You're disgusting. You'll never change. What's even the point? Recognize that story for what it is. A script, not truth. The shame gear engaging on schedule. Replace the story with a clinical frame. Say it out loud if you can. My dopamine system is depleted. I sought relief. That's a neurological event, not a moral failure. Now I reset. The language matters. Clinical, flat, boring on purpose. You're draining the shame of its emotional charge by refusing to engage with the drama your brain is trying to create. Then, the 24-hour amnesty. After a slip, you do not punish yourself. No extreme workouts to make up for it. No skipping meals. No dramatic promises. You just live normally for 24 hours. Eat clean, sleep on time, go for a walk. The goal is to prove to your brain that a slip is a mechanical event, not a catastrophe. Because researchers Janet Polivy and Peter Herman documented something called the "what the hell" effect. When people believe a slip means total failure, they're significantly more likely to binge again immediately. I already ruined it, so what's the point? Sound familiar? The amnesty breaks that logic. A slip is a slip, not a verdict. Now, the environment handles the chemistry. The shame intercept handles the psychology. But neither of those helps in the moment. The 5 to 10 seconds when the compulsion is screaming and your hand is already moving. For that window, you need something faster than thinking. You need an override. There's a window you know better than you'd ever admit. It's late. You're alone. Maybe tired, maybe bored, maybe just hollow. And the pull shows up. It doesn't ask. It doesn't negotiate. 1 second you're lying there, and the next your thumb is moving toward the app, the browser, whatever your loop uses as a delivery system. And in that gap, that 5 to 10 second crack between impulse and action, your entire week gets decided. Everything I've said up to this point means nothing if you can't survive that window. So here's how you survive it. Step 1. Name it. Out loud, not in your head. With your actual voice, even if it's a whisper. I'm feeling the urge to watch because I'm lonely. I'm reaching for my phone because I'm bored and it's the only thing that feels easy right now. Be specific. Be honest. It'll feel stupid. Do it anyway. There's a reason this works, and it's not motivational. It's neurological. Dr. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA ran studies showing that verbalizing an emotional state reduces activation in the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, by up to 50%. You're physically moving the compulsion from the autopilot system into the prefrontal cortex, from reflex to choice. You can't fight what's invisible. The second you name it, it shrinks. Step 2. Move. Immediately. 60 seconds of something physical. Not a workout. Not a run. 60 seconds. Push-ups. Jumping jacks. Sprint in place. Anything that spikes your heart rate right now. Here's what happens in your body. And I'm being specific because I want you to recognize it when it hits. Around the 15 push-up mark, your chest burns and your arms shake a little. At about second 40, something strange happens. This clarity rolls in, like fog lifting off a windshield. Your hands stop tingling. Your jaw, which you didn't even realize was clenched, releases. By second 60, the screaming compulsion from 10 seconds ago is quieter, not gone, but manageable, like someone turned the volume from 10 to a 4. That's norepinephrine competing directly with the craving signal. Dr. Wendy Suzuki's research at NYU shows that even brief, intense exercise produces immediate shifts in impulse control. You're not distracting yourself. You're chemically rerouting the signal from your limbic system to your motor cortex. The craving can't scream as loud when your body is already doing something. Step 3. Replace. In the clarity window after the movement, do one small, completable thing. Write 3 sentences. Wash 5 dishes. Read 2 pages of an actual book. Send a message to someone you've been meaning to reach. The task has to be finishable in under 5 minutes, and real enough that when it's done you can think, I did that instead. That thought, I did that instead, is the new neural pathway being laid down. Each time you complete the sequence, the replacement route gets stronger, and the compulsion route weakens. Not by willpower, by repetition. The same way the loop was built, 1 rep at a time, it gets replaced. And I want you to notice what just happened. The dopamine debt explains the paralysis. The environmental barriers give your brain room to heal. The shame loop explains why guilt kept feeding the cycle. The intercept drains it by treating it as mechanics, not morality. The override gives you a weapon for the exact moment compulsion shows up. And micro-pride builds a different identity, 1 5-minute task at a time. This isn't motivation. Motivation is what you felt Monday morning before the cycle ate it. This is architecture. You're not white-knuckling anymore. You're replacing the loop, gear by gear. And here's what changes that you won't see coming. It's not some dramatic breakthrough. It's a Tuesday. A random, boring Tuesday where you feel the pull. You name it out loud in your dark room, and your own voice sounds strange to you. You drop and do push-ups on a cold floor, and you wash 3 dishes instead. And you go to bed that night without the weight. No shame spiral. No promises. Just quiet. That quiet is the sound of the loop losing a gear. And once you hear it, you'll protect it like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. I want to tell you something, and I need you to actually hear it. Not scroll past it. Not half listen, while you're already thinking about what to watch next. The discipline, the focus, the ability to sit with discomfort and not run. You're not trying to build something that never existed. You're trying to get back to someone who was already there. Before the loop took hold, there was a version of you who could be bored without reaching for a screen, who could lie in bed and just think, who could start something on Monday and still be working on it Thursday without the cycle pulling him under. That version isn't dead. He's buried under layers of dopamine debt and shame residue. And every time you run the override instead of the loop, every single time, you dig him out a little more. Tonight, before you sleep, do one thing. Take your phone and put it in another room. Not on the nightstand. Not face down on the pillow. In another room. Plug it in by the kitchen counter or on the bathroom sink. If you need an alarm, use a laptop timer tonight and buy the $5 clock tomorrow. That one act removes the trigger from the moment where you're most vulnerable. Lying in the dark, alone, with nothing between you and the loop except 6 inches of air and a thumb. Part of you is already negotiating. I need it for the alarm. I'll just turn on Do Not Disturb. I'll start this tomorrow. That's the loop talking. And it's very good at sounding reasonable. It's had years of practice wearing your voice. Don't argue with it. Just move the phone. Let the actions settle the debate. You don't need to announce this to anyone. You don't need a streak app or a 30-day challenge. You just need tonight, and then tomorrow night. The loop was built one night at a time. It breaks the same way. The man you're trying to become is the man you were before the loop started. He's not gone. Go get him back. Drop tonight in the comments if you're moving the phone when this video ends. One word. And if this hit something you weren't expecting, subscribe. I make content that treats you like someone capable of change, not someone who needs to be screamed at. Go move the phone.